The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Hey, good morning. Cowboy Hour last night, Jamie. Just a couple of tidbits for you from that. They had Brandon Aubrey on last night, the field goal kicker for the Dallas Cowboys.
Best player on the team.
Yeah, I think so. Brad Sham is convinced that at some point in time this year, he's going to kick a 71-yard field goal.
Okay,
at some point in time. Want to take a wild guess what his nickname is that's been given to him by Dak Prescott? No.
B-Dog.
No, it does begin with a B. His nickname is Butter.
Okay.
Butter, because he's smooth as butter. Smooth as butter. His significant other, wife, I believe wife, had a baby here recently, and
congrats to him.
Yeah, within 5 hours, he was in a cowboy onesie that said on the front of it, "Baby Butter." You know, he didn't necessarily always embrace the nickname from the beginning, but it's now part of him. It's now his nickname. And so apparently early on in the nickname of him, when they would call out Butter, he didn't really know who they were talking to. And finally, one of his fellow kickers said to him, "Hey, they're talking to you. They're talking about you. You need to acknowledge them." So he goes with the flow. Butter.
Okay.
He did win 2 USFL championships, and Brad Sham asked him if he ever wore them out in public, and he said, "Yeah." He said he wore one. He wears them occasionally. He said they're awful big, and Brad Sham says, "Well, you win one here, and you're just thinking that one's big."
Yeah. Sure, be massive.
Yes.
I don't know what they give there, but yeah, you would think they'd be a little bit bigger for the Dallas Cowboys.
Jerry wins a Super Bowl while he's still alive. You know, I'm not sure you'd even be able to put that thing around your wrist. Be more like a Super Bowl bracelet, or maybe a hanging chain or something like that. Be so heavy. I
don't think at this point any Cowboys fans are worried about that.
No.
Doesn't feel like they have a whole lot of confidence in where the direction that the things are going right now.
None time soon, right? None time soon. Yeah, probably not gonna happen. I did see a bowl prediction from Jerry Palm from CBS Sports for the Red Raiders. It's a game that we've played before. I'm not sure that you certainly would like to see something a little bit better, but they have Texas Tech and LSU in the Texas Bowl on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
No,
not the worst. Not the worst.
No, it's not the worst. No.
Mm-hmm. LSU's a good football team.
Yeah. Yeah, no question. So it'd be better than, playing in, I don't know if it's better than the Pop-Tarts Bowl. That would be fun. That's in Orlando.
Yeah, no, I think most Tech fans would probably prefer that one.
Yeah. Right now, Notre Dame and TCU are projected to be in that one by him. He had previously had Texas Tech in that bowl. I mean, it's better than being in the Armed Forces Bowl, which is in Fort Worth on December the 27th. They've got Oklahoma State and Tulsa in that one right now.
That's an interesting matchup. I'm sure that's a matchup that Oklahoma State would hate.
Yeah, right. And that would be that'd be a bad bowl. They have right now.
Bet you'd have a lot of Cowboys opting out.
Yeah. Right now he has Iowa State as the team coming out of the Big 12 to play in the college football playoff. So, okay.
I can buy into thinking that will happen.
Yeah. So Georgia's the number 1 team, then Ohio State, Miami, and then Iowa State, and then along with Oregon and Alabama, Texas. Oh, yes, Texas A&M and Texas playing in the first round. That'd be fun. That would be fun. I mean, That'd be fun. Penn State and Clemson. And remember, these teams that are playing in the college football playoff in the first round, they get to play, the top seed gets to play at home. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be just really, really exciting. I think that's going to inject a new level of interest and excitement into the college football playoffs. In addition to, the 12 teams, but having those 4 games with a home field advantage for one, and just the emotion, the passion, all that kind of stuff that goes with it. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And then the teams that have the bye, how do they handle being off that week when you get a chance to rest up, obviously, or rest up even more so than your opponent. But your opponent gets that game of rust, off of them, from the big break from the conference weekend to the first.
It's not really just a week off.
Yeah.
It's an extra week off.
Yeah, it's an extra week off.
An extra week.
So it's almost like there'll be I'm sure a lot of comparisons to baseball and the wild card team advancing and the team that's sitting there, blah blah blah.
It's different than in the NFL where the number 1 seed gets a week off, which is good for them then to rest up and get healthy and all the above and not take the pounding because it's just a week off.
Right.
But you're talking about going from 3 weeks to 4 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, because and actually it might even be a little bit more than that because
4 to 5, whatever.
Yeah, the first round of the college football playoffs are the weekend of December 20th and 21st. Okay, and then the second round is not until December the 31st.
Well, you got to figure a lot of those teams are playing in their conference championship game at the beginning of the month, so
right,
it's only about 3 weeks.
Yeah, right. But still, it'd be interesting to see how that transpires. Your thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Mark wants to know, was Jerry Jones trying to take you all off the air yesterday? I guess maybe so. And Jerry pulled the plug.
Yeah, I don't think that had anything to do with it.
Okay.
Yeah. It goes more to the fact that nobody downtown had power.
Let's see here. Just talks about how bad the defense is, and they're ranked with the number 128 in the nation out of 133. Yeah. Why didn't anybody talk about how sorry the special teams play was on Saturday? I think we've talked quite a bit about that.
Yeesh.
No question about it.
That was rough.
Yeah, it was rough, and hopefully they can fix some of that for Saturday. May start with what's going to happen. Caleb Douglas is questionable because of a head injury, so he may not even be back there. He may not even make the trip to Fort Worth. Or Dre McRae, I'm sorry.
Why do you keep mixing those two up?
Yeah, Dre McRae. Yeah, I do. Dre McRae, sorry. Yeah, it was Dre McRae that was the problem child, not Caleb Douglas. We need him.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Let's stay in sports history. Today is October 22nd, 2024. Here is Jeff McGuire.
I'm going to start us off in 1939 because Chuck Heinz became a very happy boy. Because NBC became the first network to televise a pro football game. Brooklyn Dodgers beat the Philadelphia Eagles 23-14 at Brooklyn's Ebbets Field.
Wow.
Did you enjoy that game, Chuck?
I probably took a nap through that game. That was
that was the first nap in a game.
That was before my time.
Was that when the recliner was invented?
Now I'm going to have to go find that. 1960, with 2 touchdowns from Calvin Coolidge Hunt, Texas Tech earns their first Southwest Conference win, 28-7 against SMU, an opponent of its membership.
Calvin Coolidge Hunt. Mm-hmm. Wow. Was that the game that you were given the other day?
No.
Okay.
No. I actually think I had part of what I was sent the other day, so I get to add to it. 1966, ice hockey legend Bobby Orr scores his first career goal versus the Montreal Canadiens. 1972, Baseball World Series. Oakland A's beat the Reds 3-2 in Cincinnati for a 4-3 series win. It's the A's first championship since 1930 and the first in Oakland. A's catcher Gene Tennis is the MVP.
He had one of those series where, he wasn't the star of stars on that team, but he had one of those series where he just everything he saw he hit. He had a big series.
Edmund for the Dodgers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
1984, future Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback Ken Stabler retires after 17 seasons in the NFL with the Raiders, Oilers, and the New Orleans Saints. And in 2010.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 6-1, the Rangers lead in the top of the 9th. Feliz the high set. Here comes the pitch. Breaking ball, strike 3 call! The Rangers are going to the World Series! In the 50th year of the franchise, in their 39th year in Texas, under a full moon in Arlington, the Texas Rangers have won the American League pennant. They have beaten the Yankees tonight 6-1 and won the American League Championship Series 4-2. There is red, white, and blue confetti everywhere here at the ballpark. The Rangers still celebrating on the left side of the mound. Do you believe it, Ranger fans?
Fair to say, I think the Rangers fans did, in fact, believe. And in 2011, Alex Torres catches 3 of Seth Dagy's 4 touchdown passes as Texas Tech ends number 3's Oklahoma 39-game winning streak, 41-38. And that will be the last time we discuss that team this year.
Well, until you get to a bowl game, maybe. Well, I guess that'll be next year.
2011.
Yeah.
After beating Oklahoma. This is the last time we'll be discussing that team this year.
Okay.
Iowa State was the next week that we got pounded so badly. Yeah.
Won't be discussing that on this day in sports history. No, won't be. Won't be discussing any of the rest of those games that year either because,
You lost the next 4. 5, a total of 5 in a row.
Happy National Nut Day.
What? Just any kind of nut?
Go find a nut.
Happy day, Chuck.
Okay, thank you.
Happy birthday, Jeff Goldblum is 72. Jesse Tyler Ferguson is 49. Christopher Lloyd is 86. And Ichiro Suzuki is 51. And on this day, in a televised speech of extraordinary gravity, President John F. Kennedy announces that the U.S. spy planes have discovered Soviet missile bases in Cuba. These missile sites, under construction but nearing completion, housed medium-range missiles capable of striking a number of major U.S. cities in the United States, including Washington, D.C. And we get about as close as we've ever gotten to World War III. And that is this day in sports history.
All right. Your local winning word of the day here at 6:50 this morning. Double T 97.3 in the Home Zone have teamed up to provide you with a chance to win some money. The Home Zone, making your house a home every single day. The local winning word, once you get that from me here in just a second, log on to doublet973.com. Enter it there for your chance to win weekly cash every Wednesday, which is tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. The more times you enter, the more chances you have to win. This is not a national contest. It's a local one. So the money will go to a local listener just like you. We'll give away a final amount of $2,500 at Two Docs on Thursday, December the 5th. All right, we've changed this up from team nicknames to words.
Sports terms.
Sports terms. Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for. Sports terms. Thank you.
I was kind of enjoying the struggling on that.
Struggle's real. Struggle is real. The word is carry. Like Taj Brooks will hopefully carry the ball numerous times on Saturday against TCU with success. Carry. Carry is your word. C-A-R-R-Y. Okay, carry. Go to doublet973.com, enter that word in there, and get signed up, and you could be a winner of $250 at some point in time this week, or maybe even next week. It's all from Double T 97.3 and the Home Zone. Okay. Thoughts, comments? Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com. there. So somebody from the text line says that Zach and I were there, okay, at the Ranger game.
Oh, cool.
Presumably. And there on October the 22nd in 2010. God, it doesn't seem like 14 years ago, does it?
Man. I don't know. It seems like a long time ago.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
14
seems like a long time ago. Because that was before I moved back to Lubbock.
2010 was?
Mm-hmm.
What year did you get here?
2011.
2011. Okay. Coach Kingsbury kind of had it rolling at that point in time. No, that was Coach Tuberville. That was Tommy Tuberville's team that beat Oklahoma's big long rain delay. They had the peanut butter sandwiches and the country music, and then they went out and beat Oklahoma. Am I right about that? Wasn't there a long rain delay in that game?
There was a long rain delay and a victory over Oklahoma. I
On
feel
this day in history.
Yeah.
Today. That was what we were discussing like just minutes ago.
Right. Did you mention the rain delay?
No, I did not mention the rain delay.
Okay, that's okay. Right. So that's why, like, you were talking like you just said those exact same words, but you hadn't.
No, I didn't say the rain delay part of it, but
yeah, there was a lightning delay and rain and all that kind of stuff.
That game was in what year? 2011.
That was 2011. That was the beginning of the year of suck.
Yeah.
6:53 this morning here on the morning drive. We'll have high school fan zone tonight. That's it. That's the only thing on the agenda for tonight. Coaches from Monterey and Lubbock High will come and visit with Randy Rosetta tonight. So look forward to that. All right, I had one little World Series tidbit for you, but I'll save that for later in the week because it might take me a little bit longer than 27 seconds to tell that story.
Okay.
Generally, sometimes I get a little windy. Windy. I get a little windy. So sometimes getting to the point of the story sometimes takes me a little bit longer than maybe it should.
Windy.
I get a little windy. I get a little windy sometimes.
Get a little winded when I'm, going up too many stairs.
Some say that I talk too much.
That's 2 for me.
2. Okay.
2 stairs.
2 stairs.
2 stairs. All right, we'll talk some more Red Raider football as Texas Tech takes on TCU on Saturday. And get ready for hopefully what would be a much better outcome than what you had this past weekend against the Baylor Bears.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Great to have you with us today. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line off the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. What I think I would be most satisfied with in our football program is stability, year-over-year improvement that would indicate consistent growth and development. We seem to have a really hard time with that. Then for the last decade, after a couple of years of inconsistency, we get a new coach and try again, reset the roller coaster. Yeah, I think that's...
Some of that is fair, but I think if you are... I'm not sure if you're being critical or not. But if at a certain point, if things aren't working out, you have to see that. You don't just keep banging your head against the wall, right? Mm-hmm. You have to say, this is not the guy. So the I guess the biggest problem that we've had here is that you haven't been able to find the right guy. Mm-hmm. Now, I feel like the beginning of year-over-year improvement would indicate growth and development. I think this staff is doing that. I mean, before Saturday at 3:00, right. Everyone I think would say, we're making steps, we're taking steps forward, mm-hmm. we're improving, and this year's got a bright outlook to it, and there was just a whole bunch of water poured on top of that.
Yeah, it was just so shocking after 4 consecutive wins and coming off the road win at Arizona, which, I mean, you can say, well, look, Arizona's not they're not a top 25 team. They're not even one of the top teams in the Big 12. But I mean, it was a road game, and it's where you've struggled. I mean, you've struggled winning on the road. I mean, that's well documented. It's been an Achilles heel. All those kinds of things. And you had so much to play for. And I guess it'd be one thing Look, if you
and
played
it's a
your
school,
heart,
school that we hate in Baylor, and it's a rivalry, and all season long we sat around talking about, I don't think they're very good, And
here's the other thing is, if you had played your hearts out, if you had played with a lot of emotion, if you'd lost on a last second call, last second play or a field goal, or had a fumble or an interception or got screwed by the referees, something along those lines, where you walked out of the stadium going, well, hey, we left it all on the field. I just felt like you didn't leave it all on the field.
I didn't feel like you brought it.
Yeah, right, to begin with.
Yeah.
It's just
left it in the locker room.
You just or in your apartment, or the hotel. I'm not even sure it traveled. We talked about how good football teams travel with it. This one, it didn't travel at all. It didn't seem like. So it was really, really disappointing. One of the things that came out, and I don't know how many plays he played because I haven't looked this up, but it was very interesting that John Carlos Miller played at an edge on defense, one of your tight ends, and.
That shows you how thin you are in that area.
No doubt.
But also maybe that he's got a specific skill set that the coaching staff realizes, and it's like, hey, that can help us.
He's got some size, and he's got a motor. Apparently, it started last spring. He's been getting some reps one-on-one. They've added some reps for him, I guess, during practice. We'll continue to do that, and he'll continue to get some opportunities to play defense. He's excelled for you offensively. At least he's excelled at the right time, where he's picked up 3 touchdown passes.
Yeah, I don't know about excel. He's been a hand for you.
Okay, well,
he also had a big drop for you this past weekend.
Yeah. No, that's fair. But I just thought that was really interesting. The questionable list came out yesterday. We've talked about Dre McCray. He's got something going on with his head. Because it just says head, okay? So I
assume that's
the concussion
issue.
Sure.
Something going on with his head.
Well, it says head,
I think that would be a term or saying that people maybe could say about us at times.
Sure, absolutely. No question.
And it have nothing to do with a concussion.
Right.
Yeah.
Sterling Porche, the offensive lineman, he's rolled an ankle. And they talked like he was going to be able to play on Saturday, so they feel pretty good. They feel pretty good about that. That if that because of his position, it's not like he's a receiver or a linebacker or a running back who's got to move. He's basically kind of stationary to a degree compared to a lot of positions. But they feel like that he'll be okay. If not, the backup is a redshirt freshman, Nick Fatigue, I believe is how you pronounce his name. But at any rate, they feel like Porche will be able to go. Also on this list is Bryce Ramirez with a lower leg injury, and Marcus Ramon Edwards with a head injury, and now out for the year is Duda Banks with a knee injury. So. That's really unfortunate. It was interesting, and maybe it's because he wasn't meeting one-on-one with the players, but you could kind of clearly tell in the shortness of his comments yesterday, and you could kind of see the weight of the world on Tim DeRuyter's shoulders yesterday. I mean, understandably so. His unit did not perform very well on Saturday. He said he hadn't heard that the players feel like they have to be perfect because Coach McGuire made that clear that he had heard that. He did say that there's some calls that he would like to have back. He didn't specifically go into the 5 to 8 plays that he said he would like to play differently. And obviously, anytime you kind of have something along those lines, there's always the look back and go, well, I wish I'd have done that differently. I mean, we can all say that, and in our daily jobs and the things that we go through and things along those lines. There's times, well, I kind of wish I hadn't said that, or I could have said that better. There's probably, I don't know if it's 5 to 8 times a day, but it's, maybe
depends on the day for me.
It does depend on the day for me. I mean, there's times I say what I say and I don't regret it, and then there's times I say what I say, I'm like, maybe I could have probably positioned that a little bit differently. But I think they're pressing their concerns to TCU and what they have there. Coach McGuire said at one point in time he felt like during the game he almost went to Zach Kitley and said, "Hey, you got to score every possession today," because it was starting to feel like that pretty early on, but they really couldn't have enough possessions to score.
Yeah, well, I mean that seems like that would be putting a lot of pressure on your.
Well, and that's
to say that,
and that's exactly what he said. He said he didn't want the offense to be pressing, and to feel like they have to score, even though that's what he said. He said like, well, I feel like we almost have to score in every possession.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to feel that way, and I assume that Coach Kitley and his offense is trying to score in every possession already. So
right, sure,
yeah,
you don't need any more pressure than it's already there. So the goal's not. Hey, you know what? This time we're going to punt. This time we're going to punt. It was. For as good as your punting has been over the last few years, there was a shank punt that led to a short field for Baylor, and then the line drive punt, which kind of happened right in front of us along that east sideline. I mean, it was just like it was truly a line drive punt, and it was like, oh my, and because I think the guy was even surprised at it how quickly that ball got to his. I mean, because it hit him right in the chest. I mean. And he made a good catch. He had both hands on the ball, but you could almost hear the thud of the ball against his chest, and he took off like a rabbit. And next thing you knew, it was like, oh, that's going to be a touchdown. It was not quite, but the next play it was.
You forgot the part where he also ran over the punter.
Yeah, right.
Who couldn't tackle him.
Yeah, there's that too.
I guess we don't pay him to tackle, really. Yeah. We pay him to punt. He needs to punt better than that one because that was terrible. It was not. He tried one of those kangaroo kicks and it just went straight lined into that guy's chest and then back the other way.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, Chuck, Jeff, and our fine listening audience. My question today, we're flipping over to Red Raider basketball.
Oh, okay.
I want you to tell me 3 things that you are excited about for this year's Red Raider men's basketball team.
Wow. Okay. 3 things that I'm excited about for this year's Red Raider basketball team. Okay. I'm excited about the guys coming back. Curious to see how quickly we'll consider Devin Cambridge to be 100%.
Okay.
Coming off the knee injury. I'm curious about the newcomers, including JT Toppin. And others. I'm curious if because there's not been a whole lot of hype, and that's kind of the Grant McCaslin kind of MO. We haven't heard glowing things. So it's like, okay. I mean, overly glowing. I mean, like chest beating kind of glowing. I mean, it's not like they've not sent out any press releases or anything like that. But I mean, is this team as good as we think it's going to be? And I don't know that we'll know a whole lot of that in the in the non-conference. But I guess if I'm circling one game, it's that Texas A&M game on Sunday, December the 8th. I'm excited about that because I think we're going to go to that game.
Okay.
Instead of anything like specific, I've got some games that I'm really looking forward to, and part of that is I'm excited to see how this team's going to play in year 2 with Grant McCasland, and that starts with Bethune-Cookman. Has nothing to do with them coming in at the USA, but we saw the improvement that Grant made kind of with his guys, but also kind of just scrambling to put some things together. I'm excited to see what the season looks like after an off season with Grant here. And that starts with Bethune-Cookman. It could just as easily have been Northwestern State or Wyoming, and that's not what I'm excited about. I'm also excited to see what it's like to play the Aggies in a game that counts. This one counts this year when you take on A&M. It's not a preseason scrimmage that gets some television coverage that you might be able to say, one side or the other gets to say, well, we were just kind of working on some things there. This one counts. This one matters, and it should have been here, but that's a debate for another day. And overall, this is going to be an interesting new Big 12. I don't know that it got easier. I don't know that it got harder with the removal of Oklahoma and Texas and the addition of the 4 new teams. I don't know where it sits with basketball. It was pretty tough to begin with. So overall, how the Big 12 shapes out and where your place in it. I'm excited to see where that goes under Grant McCasland. So I don't know if that was the answer you were looking for, but it's the answer I got.
Yeah, no, those are good ones. Number 1 for me, I think we figured out partway through last year that Darion Williams is a star. And I think that Darion figured that out as well. And so I'm really anxious to see after an off season what he's like this year. Like, does he have that lead dog, vibe to him? Mm-hmm. And is he a guy that's going to be even more aggressive because his confidence level is up and be an even better player? Because I think he's a terrific all-around player, really good all-around basketball player. So I'm just excited to see what the maturation process is with him. Again, I think early last year, he was like, I'm a role guy, I'm here, but I'm not the guy, and I think we figured out at the end of last season that he was the best player on the team, and the guy that thought he was is no longer here. Great, and so I'm just excited to see him kind of take that next step from like, hey, you were really good to dude, you're a stud, okay, and to see how he takes that jump. Number 2, I'm excited about having a true point guard. Love pass first point guards. Elijah Hawkins is that, second in the country last year in assists per game at Minnesota. So I'm excited to have that kind of guy, running the point for you. Again, didn't have that guy last year, the point guard last year. Wanted to take too many threes. And finally, the third thing for me, I'm kind of hopping on Jeff's bandwagon here, we got new teams again, and that's fun to me. And one of them is Arizona, who has a rich basketball tradition, and so I'm excited to see what they bring to the mix as well. So I'm excited about there being new teams here, and just kind of seeing what they bring to the table and what their fan bases are like basketball wise, all that good stuff. But I'm especially excited that Arizona is in the conference now, because I think the conference got tougher.
I do too.
And so this conference is going to be a blast to watch.
Well, when you consider, like, add last year plus this year, three of those schools are in the top 25 in the preseason rankings. Cincinnati's at number 20, and Arizona's at number 10, and Houston is at number 4. So, this already adds to a conference that has Kansas as a preseason number 1, Baylor is a preseason number 8. In addition to those 2 schools, and Texas is listed at 19th, and Oklahoma isn't in the top 25. So, 2 schools that you lost this year, it's really not that much of a loss, because what you're bringing in is better than what you lost, I think. And Texas Tech is right there receiving votes behind Illinois, St. John's, and Xavier. It won't take a whole lot for Tech to get into the top 25. K-State is behind Wake Forest, which is behind Tech. So, it's like you said, it's an extremely tough conference. It'll be a lot of fun. And I'm really, really excited about the 20 conference games on the men's side. I wish the women would do that, but I think the fact that you've eliminated 2 of those cupcake games on the men's side, it's just going to make it even that much more fun for the men. They start 2 weeks from tonight. They take on Bethune-Cookman at 7 o'clock. We'll have the broadcast at 6 here on Double T 97.3.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Drive. Thank you for being with us today with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you from the First United Bank studio and look forward to hearing from you on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet97.3.com for that, or the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. Let's see here. Nothing just of immediate interest off the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Let's see. The Buccaneers came back and made it a game. Come on now. Again, a minute to go in the ball game. I'm just saying. I mean, again, anything can happen in a football game at any point in time. Just one of those unfortunate things that happened to Chris Godwin last night.
Sure.
Dislocating an ankle. Let's see. Under Joey McGuire, Texas Tech has had immense pressure on them to get that 6th win late in the season, needing many streaks to achieve that goal each of his first 2 seasons. This year, they've only needed one more win midway through the season. I hope that aspect hasn't caused them unnecessary pressure. I don't think that's... I don't see that as a problem. I don't think there's been any immense pressure.
No, I mean, I don't think it's a gimme, though. You don't really have any gimmies left on the schedule.
No, you don't. It's just, I think really, if anything, the fact that you could become bowl eligible last week was underplayed just from the standpoint of what you had kind of looking ahead, with what the opportunity was there for you. And it still is. It's just become harder. It's a harder road. Mm-hmm. Now, if you win, Jamie, if you win this week and you win next week, then you're probably back to feeling as good or maybe even better than you did going into the Baylor game.
Yeah, probably not for me.
Even by winning at TCU and at Iowa State?
Oh, at Iowa State too?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe, but that's a big ask.
Oh, I know it is. I'm just saying if you did that, I think you would feel as good as you did going into the Colorado game as you did going into the Baylor game. And I'm not saying that the Colorado game's as easy to
probably
win.
So, because it would be a road win and all that. And
2 in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, but against a really good team.
Yes, against a really good team as opposed to...
Yep, you probably would. You're right.
So,
you probably would.
I mean, it would turn that frown upside down.
Okay. I mean, you could have just said, well, if you win your next 5, you're going to just forget about Baylor, right? Okay, well, I mean, that's not likely.
No.
It's also not very likely that you're going to win at Iowa State.
You got to worry about TCU first. I get all that. All right, so Joey McGuire was asked yesterday because Baylor ran for 255 yards. How was it Baylor able to run the ball so well against the Red Raiders?
If you look, one of their first big runs, they bounced the ball. We have no edge. We're bringing a blitz. We don't get so we're gap exchanging with the defensive end, defensive tackle, and the linebacker, and defensive tackle doesn't get there, linebacker doesn't get there, they bounce the ball. I mean, that was a big part of it. The big things that showed up on tape is something that is kind of almost, I feel like I've said, and I know TD said, it's a broken record that, whenever the ball bounces, we don't have an edge player. We were not gap sound in some of their plays in the second half, didn't adjust well. And then, I thought the one thing that they did very well that we did not do well is tackle in space.
That's Joey McGuire, and that does sound like a broken record.
Yeah, really didn't tackle well either way.
Yeah, so kind of like, okay, well, what can you, how can you fix that? So we'll get to a couple more comments from Joey McGuire. One other thing that came out of yesterday, with the game on Saturday, Jacoby Williams has now played in 4 games. And this was pretty much known, I think, before yesterday because of the injury to Cameron Valdez. Because they had said from the very beginning that Cameron Dickey was not going to redshirt, and he's played in all 7 games so far. But Jacoby Williams is not going to redshirt. They're going to continue to get him the ball and continue to have him run it. So for the season, he has 6 attempts for 34 yards on the year, but he has 3 receptions through 4 games for 32 yards, and then the touchdown that he had this past weekend too. So I think they have liked what they've seen from him, just from what they've expressed going back to the spring and even right before the fall camp and during the fall camp. They've liked what kind of production that he's been able to give them. I think they were hoping to redshirt him, but once Valdez went down, that pretty much went out the window.
Yeah, you need him.
You need him.
Mm-hmm.
You need.
And I'm sure he's happy to play.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Showcase his talents. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably too soon for that.
Well, no, that's what he wants to do.
Right.
He wants to show that he can play.
Right. And we need him to stay like here for 4 years. Mm-hmm. That'd be awesome if you could hang on to people year after year after year after year after year. So I was looking at last year's TCU game because last week I talked to you about, well, if you could duplicate these numbers against Baylor, you'd be doing pretty good, which you didn't do. But, man, if you allow this on Saturday, at least the yardage without the interceptions, it could be a long day. Josh Hoover last year for TCU, 32 of 52, 353 yards, but he threw 2 interceptions.
He's a good quarterback, no doubt. Their passing game scares me, just like Baylor's did because of your struggles defending the pass.
Mm-hmm. All totaled offensively, they had 440 yards. They're not as worried about the running game this week, and Hoover is not a mobile quarterback. That doesn't mean that they're not going to try, because Coach McGuire said that they're going to try to establish the run, but they feel like that they will. They know that they're going to get attacked from a passing standpoint, but you can't let them have their way with you from a running attack, so that then it becomes even more difficult from a defensive standpoint in defending the pass. Get a couple more things from Coach McGuire next year this morning on the Morning Drive. It is 8:10 on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. Good morning.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at Double T 97.3.com.